You are entering the cosmos.
Hello, cadets. Welcome to another episode of General Howitzer's Big Monster Briefing Room. I feel that I should tell everybody ahead of time that, yes, we do movies that have gore in them. We do give spoilers. We do a timeline of every movie from beginning to end. That is certainly the case with this one. We're going to talk about Jason Vorhees tonight and the movie that I feel pretty much defined his character. Because you'll see when we get to the timeline. And let me bring up Major Marie Hazzard.
Hello, General. It's an honor to be here, an honor to serve. Hello, cadets. We have a lot of cadets coming in right now, so very happy to see everybody come in. That's right.
I got my peach tea, which tastes like peach pits.
That means we're ready for some noises, and we have my favorite. Well, one of my favorite because I love all of our guests, but Julio Morales is an awesome expert. He knows everything, and he's very passionate about these big monster films. So I'm very happy.
He's a fan favorite. There's no doubt he's a fan favorite. But we usually bring him on for zombie films. And when I approached him with movies about zombies and things that he would like to talk about, he mentioned this movie. And you know, in a sense, it is a zombie movie because Jason has come back from the dead. He's a walking killer. He's a walking zombie.
He is a walking dead. Thank you.
Kind of.
It's
so
a little
technically.
It's a good fit for Cadet Morales. And you know, when Cadet Morales is not here, he's also a cadet, and he comes and he watches. And he always has something wonderful to say.
He knows Jason. He does. He knows Jason Vorhees. Oh, by the way, if you hear some thunder outside, we have a nice big storm going on outside the big monster briefing room here. So next week, we're going to have Jeffrey Boots on Tuesday. We're going to talk about Evil Dead, the Sam Raimi movie, or possibly Evil Dead 2. I'm not sure which one yet. We're going to talk to him about that. But we're going to do an Evil Dead picture, to be sure. We could do either one. It's going to be up to him. So I'm hoping that everybody's watching, and I hope you've got your whatever favorite drink you like, and you're ready to discuss Jason Vorhees from the Friday the 13th franchise.
But we do have a Rory Penland update, so if you could please fill people in on what's going on with Rory Penland tomorrow and Saturday.
He had a lousy show last night. I'm sorry. I like Sandy D, I missed her last night on the show. So anyway, but no, this weekend, Rory is going to do his 801 plus voice show. He's going to try to break his record of 847 voices an hour up in Lake City, Florida. Or over in Lake City, Florida, I should say. And that's going to be tomorrow night or tomorrow evening from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. That's going to be broadcast live on Cosmos TV and YouTube and Twitch and all of the people that we're connected to, as well as Saturday's show. He's going to do a tribute to Elvis as Dragon Elvis, and that's going to be an hour-long set on stage in front of a live crowd. I'm told that the tickets are getting close to selling out, so it's going to be good. It's going to be a good crowd, and very happy to hear that. And again, they'll start at 6 o'clock.
What time is that? 6 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Cool.
Yeah, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, both times. The same that we do. We always like 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. So do they. So
that's right.
So okay. All right, so let's bring up our guest, Mr. Julio Morales. who is not only a zombie expert, he's got a zombie on the wall there, I think. Mr. Funny Bones.
Oh, yeah, there he is. It's great to be back. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's always a pleasure. Yeah, he's a walking skeleton. He's funny, you know. He does jokes.
Yes, he makes phone calls to Australia too.
There you go. Tell John I said hi.
I will.
That joke's going around. It is. It's really going around. Okay, so let's get into this.
I'm so compelled to do the and now all the time when I'm by myself. I just love it. It's so fun. So, but we don't want to play it out. I just want to say I love it.
Didn't I just say we're beating a dead horse here?
It's best when Julio does it. He is the best one who does it. We're all just knockoffs. You know, the way he does it is special. But
I think John is okay with Julio doing it, but everybody else, he's like, oh, come on, guys, let me have my joke. So, all right. Well, this movie was released through Paramount, believe it or not. I guess that's the same for all of the Jason movies, the Friday the 13th movies.
Right up until Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday.
Oh, okay. And then somebody else got it?
That's why Jason Goes to Hell is called Jason Goes to Hell, and Jason X is called Jason X, because they couldn't use the Friday the 13th name anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But they got over to the other company to try to make Freddy versus Jason, and they were going to make Freddy versus Jason. They were going to make that right after Jason Takes Manhattan, I think, but they had to keep on making movies in order to keep the rights to the franchise. So they made 2 subpar films until Freddy versus Jason, and we know how that was as well.
I kind of like Jason X.
No, it's better than some of them. There's more of a self-aware type thing going on, and that's kind of what's going on in this film. There's more of a self-aware thing going on with this movie. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things about this film that make it wildly different from anything else in the series.
Yeah, again, this is probably my favorite. Wow, those pictures are dark. I wish there was a way we could lighten those up a bit. Okay, so the truck is driving towards the cemetery there. They've changed the name of the town. It's no longer Crystal Lake anymore.
Forest Green.
They've changed it to Forest Green. And my mom said that's all I should say about that. So here we have Ronald Horshack in the truck with our hero.
Yes.
And
which I mean, that would have made the theme to Welcome Back pretty at home here since Jason is back.
There you go. Welcome back, Jason. Ow, 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 ow. So, yeah, they're going to go out to the cemetery. He's brought the hockey mask with him. He's gonna open up the coffin, burn Jason's body, and he's gonna throw the hockey mask in there with him. How he got the hockey mask, I believe in between these films, he was institutionalized, but there it is. Somehow he had the hockey mask. Actually,
at the end of part 5, supposedly he was holding on to the mask while he was in the hospital the whole time.
Oh, all right. So they let him keep it. How nice.
Well, they do that with crime scene evidence from time to time on a person-to-person basis.
Yeah, you would think that would be in a police locker somewhere. So they open up the coffin, and there's this maggot-ridden, body of Jason. And up to this point, he's got a kind of a Quasimodo look where his one eye's down a little bit on his right-hand side, or is it right hand? Yeah, right-hand side of his face. But now the corpse looks like a regular corpse. It's just, a corpse.
Yes.
Just a little something that just kind of bugged me. Anyway, I'm sorry. So it's not enough that he's going to burn the body. He says, I'm going to grab this pole from the gate, the outer gate, and I'm going to jam it through his body a few times just to get my anger out. With which Ron Palillo, who's the actor that plays Ronald Horshack in this character, he goes, "Oh, he really messed you up, didn't he?" But I gotta take a moment here to say, after the disappointment that was the last movie when somebody else tried to become Jason, and it didn't work. Yes, there was body count, but it wasn't really Jason.
Nope.
This was an amazing writing job, fiction script to bring back the monster that is Jason, and even make him more powerful. Make him, he becomes a modern day Frankenstein.
Well, yeah, I mean, they even resurrect him Frankenstein style with the lightning.
Exactly.
Kind of as this series goes on, he becomes less and less human. When you watch 2, it's just a dude with a sack on his head.
Right.
And then he just keeps on getting bigger and bigger and less human-like.
Yes.
To varying degrees. Like by the time the remakes were made in 2000, Jason has no business being in the 2000s. Part of why they were good movies is because of the time period they were in, and just like once he just kept on getting it's like this, I don't know, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle villain by 8.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Jason. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. There's something less scary about that.
So he throws the hockey mask in there, and he walks over to get the gas can, and that's when the lightning hits, because there's a terrible storm going on there. And that's when the lightning hits. And, of course, it wonderful graphic. This was before CGI, by the way. They did some wonderful animated graphics on this to bring his body, zap it back to life. And some interesting directing, choices. Again, you still got the maggots on the face, which I love. And again, they're falling off when the rain comes down. Falling off by his boots, which I like. But it's Tommy, right? Tommy Jarvis is his name, the character?
Yep.
Tommy is getting out of the grave, or actually goes to check the body again. And then he goes to step out of the grave. And he pulls the stake out of his heart, so to speak. And Jason pops up out of the grave after him. And, of course, we get the reaction shot of, Ron Palillo. And we know he's probably going to be dead in a few seconds, and we're right. But first, Jason comes after Tommy because I guess he knows Tommy. And this is actually the only time we see Jason without his mask on in this. Before he puts the mask on, and of course he puts his hand through Ron Palillo and pulls his heart out of his back.
Yeah.
And which of course to kids is they sneak into this movie. That's cool. And that's it. That was the last I saw of Ron Palillo. Didn't do much after that.
Yeah. No.
So Tommy hauls ass. He gets his butt out of there. He's smart enough to know there's no way I'm going to be able to go up against this. So he hauls Boogie. And Jason puts the hockey mask on, and he's reborn. This is the new Jason that we're going to know for the next 20, 30 years.
With the best opening credit sequence of any of this movie.
Yeah, they did a kind of a James Bond thing there.
Yeah.
Where he does the machete and the blood comes out and it makes the words of the movie.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a nice touch too. Again, it's setting this up to be kind of campy, but it's a Jason film. You're going to get body count. There are going to be surprises. And there are going to be things that we expect.
The one thing that I noticed when I rewatched this is that I don't think there's a single death in this movie that doesn't have a joke immediately afterwards.
Well, and yeah.
So.
And again, that's campy. That's the kind of way. And I'm surprised to see some of the people in this movie that are in here. The biggest surprise is coming up in a second. But anyway, Tommy goes to the police office station. Oh, I forgot to set my phone up to not disturb. Anyway, and when he walks in, we get our Donald Sutherland style sheriff pointing his gun right at him immediately. So we know this guy's going to be a real tool. He's going to be a pain in the butt.
Yep. And
now,
he's got his deputy too. He's kind of Barney Fife-ish.
Yeah, he's the one with the laser sight.
Yeah.
I got my good laser sight right here. So
you click, it goes bang.
because he's a nutball. They realize who he is, and he's saying, "Hey, Jason's back." Now, the guy on the left here ended up doing a lot after this movie, including playing the villain in the movie Ghost with Whoopi Goldberg.
That's a different training film.
What's that?
That's a different training film.
That's a different kind of training film. I am not going to show that training film. Sorry. The only thing that is that even qualifies it in this big monster briefing room is the demons that come out and pull you down to hell, pull your ghost down to hell. So I'm sorry, it's not enough. Too much Whoopi Goldberg, too much Demi Moore faking a smile, smiling while they're making pottery. Okay. So they run into Jason. They're in a Volkswagen Beetle. So, they're in big trouble. And he pulls a gun. He figures, I'm going to scare this guy away. This nutball in the hockey mask. They don't realize it's Jason. They can't see that, his head is gray and decayed. And so anyway, he pops the tire of the Volkswagen Bug. The guy comes out with a gun. And Jason basically just sticks the pole right through him and right over his head, showing his super strength. You would think that a body that hadn't eaten in a couple of years, that was lying in a coffin, wouldn't be that strong. But
atrophy, nah.
You wouldn't think that he would have that kind of strength, being a scrawny skeleton in a suit like that. But anyway, he's superhuman now. The electricity is the life. So the girl is trying to hand him money, which I think is kind of funny. She's down in a puddle of mud and she's trying to hand him money. Please take the money. Hey, he kills her. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't need to eat, right? So then we go back to the sheriff and we find out his beautiful daughter is one of the camp counselors at the new camp that's on Crystal Lake. But they call it, whatever. And we get our roster list of dead bodies. They all come walking in. They're all going to be, Jason fodder.
Yep.
So they all walk in. And Megan is her name, which is one of my favorite names. Megan sees Tommy and, it's love at first sight. I love that man in bars.
Yes. And the fact that my father just arrested him makes him even more attractive.
There you go. Right on point, sir. So, she's flirting with Jason. Her dad's like, yeah, get away from that guy. He's dangerous. Come on now. I'm taking him to the edge of town. Meanwhile, at the cemetery, the old drunk cemetery guy, the caretaker, he's drinking, and he's like, "Oh, kids digging up the bodies. They don't even put them back in right." We see Ron Palillo's shoe sticking out there. He reburies the body because he doesn't want to get in trouble. And then we go back to Camp Crystal Lake and the counselors, and the horror is about to arrive. And you know what horror I'm talking about. It's not Jason. It's the kids. The kids are there.
Yep.
I gotta be totally honest with you. In the first 2 or 3 movies, did they even have kids?
This is the first time that it actually happens when the kids are at the camp.
Yeah. Again, I'm like, I know the camp counselors are there because they keep getting knocked off. But do they?
Parts 1 through 4, it was while they were setting up the camp, and then there really was barely any camp action in the 5th one anyway. We were hanging out at the mental hospital with that guy that smears chocolate on people's clean laundry and shit.
Okay. So they've canceled the camp 4 times already.
Yeah.
These kids are ready to tear the place up.
And you'd think that would make this more of a darker film, the fact that there's children there. But
Well,
even the way that they like supposedly put them in danger is kind of funny. Like,
yeah.
even the kids' lines later on. There's one brilliant line in this movie that a kid says later on.
Well, there's a kid, that says snarky lines to another kid throughout the last scenes.
Yeah, it's that kid.
And there's a little girl who keeps waking up seeing the boogeyman, and she keeps having to be taken back to her bed and put to bed. And finally, one of the camp counselors says, I always find that if I say a little prayer to God, he goes away. And
well, that's probably why they put children in these movies, because people were going to Friday the 13th movies and scoring afterwards. So they put the children in as abstinence fodder.
Yeah. So the next scene we see is a bunch of corporate guys are out doing a little paintball game. And one of the ladies in the office is taking out some of the big wigs. And this guy is like a real woman hater. And Jason, he meets up with him first.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already got a dead, they have to put a scarf around, not a scarf. What the hell what's about him? A little piece of cloth around their head that says dead on it.
Oh, yeah, because they're playing paintball.
Right. So Jason flings him into a tree. Nice little happy face carved in there. Like you say, they make a lot of jokes about the bloody, gory deaths. And Jason's holding his arm still. He's ripped his arm off.
Yeah.
And his arm is still holding the machete.
I think they did that with a lot of the deaths because the MPAA was giving them a real hard time, and they were chopping scenes every movie to avoid an X rating. So I think they threw the jokes in. Maybe the MPAA will lay off.
Well, there you go. So yeah, there's killing going on in the woods as we speak. Tommy Jarvis is being taken to the border. And he decides that he is going to head to. Here's the sheriff and his deputy talking about they're worried he's going to do something nuts. And sure enough, he sees the sign to the cemetery, and he decides he's going to make a side trip to the cemetery so they can see that Jason was dug up and he's not in his grave anymore. So back in the woods, this guy. Shoots Jason with a paintball. We get a nice little reaction shot. And then he's like, ooh, and he runs off. And there's the sign to the cemetery. And Tommy Jarvis takes a quick left. Goes to the cemetery. And he's caught, obviously, by the sheriff. And he says, go look at Jason's body. It's not there. Go on, look at it. And they see that the body has been reburied. He's like, well, I guess he pulled the dirt back over him again. And again, I love the fact that this guy just kind of reminds me of Donald Sutherland. Anyway, the camp counselors are talking to the kids. They're saying, we're going to scare the boys. And the boys are listening to some bullcrap thing that the guy counselor is telling them about rocks and Indians, and it sounds like BS, and the kids are like, oh, this sucks. So finally, they take him to the border, Tommy Jarvis, and the sheriff says, don't ever come back. If you do, you're going to regret it. And then we have a couple of guys, a couple who are getting engaged right now. They're drinking wine in the woods. Kind of romantic. And then the drunken caretaker shows up, and he throws his bottle, and Jason catches it, and he gets killed. They get killed. They get on their motorcycle. Jason sticks them right through with the machete, right through both of them at the same time. And we go back to Camp Crystal Lake. And the counselors are talking to each other. They're bored. They're wondering what's going on. They know that the guy counselor is out in a van close by, or out in a RV close by, doing the Ficky Waka with his girl. And she's like, "You're the best. You got to hold out to the end of the song." He's like, "How long is the song?" 6 minutes. Ah.
Uh-oh, it's Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Is that what it is?
No.
I didn't even notice.
But this is another thing that's different from any other Friday the 13th movie. This is the only Friday movie with no nudity in it.
Ah, interesting.
And that actress is actually Angela from Sleepaway Camp.
Okay. So she was naked in Sleepaway Camp, but not this one?
Actually, she was naked in Sleepaway Camp, but Angela was a boy in that movie, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Sleepaway Camp is about the transvestite killer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's her.
Yep. And one of her only other roles, apart from Sleepaway Camp and Return to Sleepaway Camp.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Okay. So they're decided to get out of there. Somebody's pulled the cable, the electricity loose. So they decide to get out there, and Jason is in the actual RV. He sneaks in the RV when they go out looking to what happened to the electricity. She gets her face crunched through the wall there.
Yeah.
And he gets a Jason's knife into the side of his head through his ear. And the RV crashes.
Yeah.
And we get the shot of Jason popping out on top as it's burning.
That RV didn't just crash. That RV like explodes.
Gas tank, It's the writers. The writers do that in all screenplays. Gas tanks are dangerous.
Absolutely, just like that.
So Megan goes back to give her father more shit. Evidently, they have a wonderful, lovely relationship. He goes out because they say, "Hey, we found bodies in the woods here." She gets on the phone with Tommy Jarvis, who was called to make a warning again. He says he's going to go back to Camp Crystal Lake. And the sheriff, meanwhile, is checking out the dead bodies. Back at the camp, the camp counselors are about to start diminishing in number. That one camp counselor is pulled out the window by Jason. He pulls her right out of her furry slippers.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one is sleeping. Tommy meets up with Megan, and she says, "Hey, I'll help you get the stuff you need. We'll go out there." The little girl wakes up. She's scared. And again, Tommy and Jarvis and Megan are on the way, but the police are out there. They're looking for him. I think. Pretty sure.
Yeah. I think there's a chase scene coming up.
Yeah. And she says, "Hey, put your head down." And she gives him a nice crotch shot, and then her dad catches them together with his head down in her lap.
Yep.
So I can't see this one. Can you see it better?
Not really. Kind of looks like a chick.
Okay, this is the little girl. Oh, that's what it is. It's the girl's that got the bloody machete. For some reason, Jason left the bloody machete lying around, and the little girl got it, and she came into the camp counselor, and she's like, "I'm scared. The boogeyman's out there." No, come on, let me take you back to your bed. And she tells her that little thing about back in the jail. It's going back and forth here a lot. Back in the jail. Yeah, they put him back in the cell because he came back, and the sheriff is called out again with more dead bodies. Now he's convinced that Tommy Jarvis did all this. So this camp counselor tells her, if you do a little prayer, to God, I find that usually makes it go away. And this is ironic because she goes back to her cabin now, and Jason is there, and it is the bloodiest, messiest death in the entire movie. So there it is. Oh man, what this out. Oh, that's Tommy and Megan kissing. They've made a plan to get Tommy out of jail by putting the deputy in the jail, using his own gun with his laser sight. And that's the next one. Beep. Right on the tip of his nose. Tommy's mute. So they're back in the car again, Megan's car. And they're going to go back out to Camp Crystal Lake. They've got all the stuff that they need. It's still in there. It's still in the backseat of the car. Tommy says that Jason needs to go back into the Camp Crystal, or he needs to go back into Crystal Lake, where he died. He needs to go back. That's his feeling. So he's gonna chain up a boulder, that he's gonna put a boulder in a small boat.
Yeah, this little paddle boat really would have held that gigantic boulder.
And again, this is a boulder that's heavy enough to keep Jason tethered down to the bottom of the lake. He's going to wrap the chain around his neck if Jason doesn't cut his head off first. And this is not the best plan, but there it is. As they said in the Black Adam movie that just came out this week, a bad plan is better than no plan. So the police actually show up at Camp Crystal Lake. The camp, I should call it something different, but the camp. Not only our favorite sheriff, but some guys from the next county over. And they decide to spread out and check out the camp. And one of them, the first guy, goes over to the dock. And Jason is right there out in the woods next to the dock. He takes one of those spikes and throws it and catches the guy in the head. And he ends up in a boat.
Yeah.
With his head, his cranium pierced.
It's kind of similar to the spear scene from 3. The scuba spear shot. It's almost the exact. Yeah, a guy was standing on the pier. It was almost the exact same scene.
Now, see, part 3 defines Jason because that's when he put the hockey mask on.
Mm-hmm.
So we almost did part 3 for this show. But this really more defines Jason. There he is with the piton, right? His piton in his head. This one really defines Jason more because now he's a walking Frankenstein monster type corpse, just killing. And it's not easy to stop him.
Yeah. And this led into not this film, but the next one for the next 20 years or so was the Kane Hodder era. And
right.
That's the one everyone loves. Everybody loves Kane Hodder as Jason.
And again, we talked about this before. I thought Kane Hodder was in this one, but you corrected me on that. No, it was somebody else that did this one. And then
it was a guy that was just a one shot. I can't remember his name.
Well, and that's the way it was up till this time. It was always somebody different playing Jason every movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Hodder was the first one to do it multiple times. And he did it 4 or 5 times, right?
Yep.
He did, the next one is New Blood, right? Then Manhattan.
Then, Jason Lives, Jason X, and Freddy vs. Jason.
No. I'm talking about Kane Hodder. He did Jason Goes to Hell, then Jason X. So that's 4. And then they replaced him when they did Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah, it was, who played him in Freddy vs. Jason? Kersinger. He played the deli guy that gets thrown by Jason, and Jason takes Manhattan, and then he played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So, back out in the camp. The sheriff, the guy from the next county over, gets his head crushed by Jason. And he shoots him. And we realize, okay, now bullets are no longer effective against Jason. So he gets his head crushed. And this is ironic because he's always worried about his hair, this guy. He always wants to look good. So then the little girl is running around. She bumps into the sheriff. And Jason shows up with him. And he continues to shoot Jason, and Jason goes down, continues to get back up again. So, again, and he's shooting him with a shotgun. So he wisens up and runs. He goes out into the woods and hides because he realizes Jason is unstoppable. It's Jason, and there's no way he's going to be able to stop him. So, I can't see anything. Looks like it might be the doc. Okay, this is where the kids are saying snarky things to each other about they're going to die.
Yeah.
Dead meat. Dead meat.
I think this is where.
What were you going to do when you grew up?
What were you going to be when you grow up? Yeah, that's a great line. That kid's a smart ass throughout this entire film, though.
Yes, the one on the left. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jason, he sees Megan because Megan and Tommy have shown up out at the and she's like, "Oh, good, the police are here." They see the police cars, and so Jason goes after Megan because she's a camp counselor. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see anything. Oh, it's her father. Her father realizes he's going to go after Megan because she's calling out, and he's going to. So he starts yelling at Jason, and Jason ends up folding him in half backwards, which is probably the death that most people talk about in this movie.
Well, it's one of the more satisfying ones because, like, it's that
satisfying.
It's that type of character where you're like, if you just listen to them, you wouldn't have any problems right now, but you're just not listening. Oh, yeah, the terror that has screwed with this town for the past 20-something years totally doesn't exist. That's why we changed the name to the town.
See, that's why we have you on this show, you know, because that death was so satisfying.
It is.
So, all right, Tommy's already in the boat now. He's pulled a boulder over. He's rolled a boulder over, and of course we skipped the scene where the boulder goes into the boat because obviously the boat would have gone down to the bottom of the lake. But anyway, he's chaining up the boulder. He's got the other chain. You know, he's working on the loop to go around Jason's head. and unfortunately Megan is in the picture again. She's in danger, and she's about to ruin everything. Here comes Jason. So he's like screaming at Jason, "Hey, you want me? Come on here, you want me?"
Yeah, starts calling him a pussy and everything.
Yeah. Oh, God. I can't see a damn thing. I wish there was a way I could lighten these up. Okay. So, yeah, he's screaming at him, "Come on out here, you pussy. Come on." Yeah. And Jason just walks out into the water. You know, instead of coming down he could have come down the dock and stepped into the boat. But I guess the director decided, hey, you know what would be cool? Let's have him just walk right into the water like it's nothing.
Let's Godzilla this up.
He walks right into the water until the water goes over his head, and then it's like Tommy's like, "Oh crap, where is he?" So Tommy, does the smart thing. He takes the gas can and he puts gas on top of the water and then sets it on fire. Because you want to see what's going on. It might burn you up in the boat, but you can see what's happening.
Right? Maybe it'll help the frames be more visible.
If you pour gas on the top of water, it burns like great. It's fantastic. Hey, I've just made the water flammable. I don't know. I've never done this experiment. But Megan's like, "You idiot! You just set the water on fire. What the hell?" No, she's scared. She thinks that Jason's gonna kill him. So we're getting lots of great reaction shots from Megan. So Jason jumps up out of the fire water. And he's fighting with Tommy, and of course the boat breaks in half because there's a boulder in it. So finally that makes sense. It's like, wow, you got lucky, Tommy. But so we see the boulder go to the bottom of the ocean. We see a Camp Crystal Lake sign down there that says Camp Blood. They scratched out Crystal Lake and they put blood at the bottom, Camp Blood. That's what I should have called this for this episode. They went back to Camp Blood. So he gets the chain around Jason's neck.
Yeah, you're right, because the one counselor actually calls it Camp Blood, and she introduces that card game called Camp Blood. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The problem is Jason, even though he's tethered, he can still hold on to you, which means you're going to die. He's holding on to Tommy Jarvis. And then Megan decides, I'm going to jump out there and help. So she runs out to the dock and just jumps right in to help out. And, of course, Tommy's already got water all in his lungs. So he's not responsive anymore. So Jason comes after her because it's another body, and she's a camp counselor. And she manages to actually get the motor on the boat that hasn't quite sunk yet. I don't know if you've had a boat that's broken in half, but they sink pretty damn fast. But for some reason, this back end of this boat is still on top of the water. It's not full of water at the bottom of the ocean or at the bottom of the lake.
I mean, the motor.
It's not just there for a few seconds. It's there long enough for her to make like 3 pulls on that engine.
It was there for practically half of the climax.
So, damn it, she's lucky that boat is still on top of the water, and she's able to maneuver the propeller so that it hits Jason's face and neck. Because it's popping his mask back and forth, and we're seeing blood coming out of his neck, which is strange because, he's been dead for several years. There shouldn't be any blood in his body. But anyway, there's red blood in his body.
Yes.
I got to point these things out, folks. They make you scratch your head and wonder,
Well, not only that, but if you really think about it, if the blood is red, that means that the blood is oxygenated, which means that Jason needs to breathe, which means this ending makes no sense anymore.
Yeah, well, there you go. Suspend up your disbelief. Suspend your belief. So, okay, she pulls Tommy out of the water, gets away from Jason. Jason is just, you know how he like dies for a few seconds like Michael Myers, and then he comes back? That's what he's done there. He's just kind of, just standing there. So, or hanging there, I should say, floating there. There we go. So Tommy comes back pretty quickly. He coughs up a little bit of water, and hey, the kids are all happy, and Megan's happy, and they're together. And so that's it. That's the big climax. And they cut to, I guess it's the next day, and everybody's gone. It's just the dock now at Crystal Lake. But we know Jason's still there under the water. And he's just kind of hanging, just hanging. And his eyes are still open.
Yep.
The lake water doesn't seem to bother his eyes at all. So there it is. So he's still waiting for, the time when they'll let him loose and let him come up out of the water. Again, he's aquatic now. He can breathe under the water because it's the next day. He's a mermaid.
Aquatic.
He's a merman now. So now it's 44 minutes. I told you, I think because these are Friday the 13th movies and they're all pretty much this, they're alike. It's body count. I thought we could get through 2 movies today. I thought we could get through part 3 and this one. So listen to me next time. Again, I think I could have made a 100 slide. I don't remember much other than body kill from part 3. You know, there wasn't much story to it. It was just body kill. Body count.
Well, I mean, we had
and usage of 3D.
Yes, there was the terrible 3D. We had the stoner characters for the first time. We had the guy that owned the store that just ate things off of the shelf whenever we liked. We had Shelley, which was the best character in that movie, and it was the first Friday the 13th character apart from the main character that had anything about him. He had a storyline. He wasn't popular. Everybody didn't like his shitty jokes and everything.
Okay.
But he's basically the protagonist in that movie, and that's where Jason gets the mask from.
Okay, right. So as we mentioned earlier, it's been a while since I've seen the first few. So I know Kevin Bacon is in the first one. He's the one that gets the spear up through his neck in the bed. Tom Savini did that effect. He was, he's best known for the Walking Dead, not Walking Dead, the Night of Living Dead pictures. But he did this and the early Jason movies. Crispin Glover is in one of them. I know that. 4. He's in part 4.
Yep.
Okay. So we got Crispin Glover in the 4th one, and we got Corey Feldman, right?
He's in the 4th one. Yeah.
He's young Tommy Jarvis who kills kills Jason at the end of, or dispatches Jason at the end of that. Well, he kills him. He's buried in the ground.
Yeah. And like, that's probably your most notable characters. There really wasn't many standout people in Takes Manhattan or Goes to Hell. I know. Although in Freddy vs. Jason, I know there was a member of Destiny's Child.
Okay. In Manhattan, the star of it was the dickhead, the bad guy in the movie, who is a character actor that's done a lot of movies, a lot of TV. I can't remember his name offhand.
Oh, the uncle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of stuff.
That guy's a total dick in that movie.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He does a good job of that.
Well, yeah, he serves his purpose, exactly.
So, I wish I could remember his name was Richard or Robert something. I can't remember his name. He's did a lot of TV and a lot of movies in the 60s and 70s. And, yeah.
Lar Park Lincoln was in that, too. She was playing the girl with the telekinetic powers, which means that is Jason versus Carrie.
Now, didn't one of the Arquette girls do that character in one of the movies?
That's Jason Goes to Hell. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't realize that she was in 3 movies. That character?
Yeah.
The psychic character.
That I don't know.
Okay.
It's entirely possible.
I got my computer on here. I'm going to try to go to IMDb and find out. Wait a minute. It might be Mark Richmond is his name, I think. Let me check it out. All right. Jason Takes Manhattan. I'm just going to type man in here. Part 8.
Yeah.
Good God, they made a lot of these movies. And his name is Peter Mark Richmond. I was close. Peter Mark Richmond. The brain isn't totally gone. I still have a little bit left. So, yeah. And I'm guessing that character, the psychic character, is Renee.
Yeah, I think so.
That's funny. She's the psychic girl with the blonde hair. And she's like a Carrie. She can actually move things, right? She actually like clobbers him with a bunch of stuff, making it fly across the room.
Yeah, she even winds up hanging him by the end of the movie. And he definitely looks more like a zombie in that one, too. He's even got his spine hanging out and everything.
You get bones sticking out, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, he's gone through hell. I mean, and back.
Yep.
All right. Well, and again, I see Kane Hodder here as Jason. Yeah. So, again, he was able to be this character, this monster that you could barely stop. It was very difficult to stop him. And Freddy points out in Freddy versus Jason that water is the key, which is it's his opposite. Fire is the key to beating Freddy, and water is the key to beating Jason.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a pretty cool twist. It was a pretty cool, interesting thing. What happened? What happened after Freddy versus Jason? Were there any Jason movies after that?
Well, after Freddy vs. Jason, I believe they made the remake in 2009.
They did a remake.
Yes, or a reboot, if you will. What they actually did for the 2009 remake is they basically took plot points from the first 4 films and sewn them in together. So you get the mother backstory. You get him being a lonesome killer like in the second one. And by the end of the film, you get like the teenager house party where everybody gets murdered like 4.
Okay. So
and Sean S. Cunningham did come back to do something on that.
What I have here on IMDb is 2009, The Rebirth of Jason Voorhees. No, that's a short. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, the remake is just simply called Friday the 13th again.
Now, Betsy Palmer, that played the killer in the first film, she was Jason's mother. She only did the first movie, right?
Yep.
She would not come back to do it again. As a matter of fact, they used another actress for Freddy versus Jason, who looked amazingly and sounded amazingly like her.
She didn't really have too high of an opinion of the film. She's been quoted as saying that she only did the part to get repairs done to her car, and once Siskel and Ebert reviewed the first Friday the 13th, Siskel made it a point to put out her address so people could send her nasty letters for being in the movie.
Okay.
So
it was 2009. They did one Friday the 13th movie, and I'm guessing since they haven't done one since 2009 that it didn't do well, that it didn't make money. Because in Hollywood, if you don't make money, they don't make more pictures.
Yeah.
But if you made any money, you got a shot at making another picture.
Even if you broke even, most likely you're going to wind up making a sequel. What happened with this, the general consensus among many Friday fans is that Jason does not belong in the 2000s. It doesn't work.
Okay.
I mean, even when you watch Freddy versus Jason, there's some funny parts in it. But you're getting a lot of CGI that really doesn't enhance a slasher film. Slasher films are fun because there's a certain level of realism. Like you see something and it's like, man, that could happen in real life. When I see a cartoon nose get cut off by a Freddy glove, I'm like, I almost wonder if that really happened or not. So you add in the type of cinematography that happens now, just the setting in general. I mean, with the way the cops are in the real world nowadays, the guy's going to be killing somebody in the woods for 15 minutes before there's a SWAT team out there. So, but in 1980, you could believe a guy would get away with this for a night.
Well, so again, I guess if they wanted to reboot the series and be successful, what you're saying is they have to do it like in the 1980s.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too hard to go.
Stranger Things. Stranger Things took, the 1980s and they did their show as it was in the 1980s.
Exactly.
And it worked.
You go to the Salvation Army, you get grandma's wardrobe, and there's your costume budget right there.
All right. Well, that makes sense. That makes total sense. You're a smart man. You should be working in Hollywood. You should be making money.
Yeah, right. They'll eat me alive.
All right. Well, this has been very interesting talking about Jason Voorhees and the man, the myth, the monster, what he's become, and why sometimes it didn't work. Because I'm looking at the poster and he looks pretty badass on the poster, to be honest.
No, it does. It is a cool looking poster. I'll give it that. And given what type of movie it is, if you're just looking for something to kill 90 minutes, it's fine. The kills, yeah, exactly. The death scenes are okay and everything, but if you're somebody who grew up with the original films and that's what you're looking for, you're not going to find it. And with most Friday fans, that's what they wanted. That's why when the 5th movie came out, every Friday fan pitched a fit and said how terrible it was. And it is terrible, but
I got to bring it back to Halloween. We talked about Halloween with Dana Samsel, the last episode. Why is it that they're still able to make Halloween films with Michael Myers in modern times, and not able to do Camp Crystal Lake and Jason?
I think that the entire reason why they can do that is because you get, with Halloween, they did Season of the Witch, which didn't have Michael Myers at all.
Right.
And they wanted to do the anthology thing. Clearly that didn't work out. So then...
Well, the fans didn't like it, but it actually made money.
No, and I mean, if you do a shot every time the Silver Shamrock commercial comes on in that movie, you will be toasted. But, so they did the Thorn trilogy after that. Donald Pleasance died. Then they did Resurrection, H2O. Then nothing really happened. Rob Zombie makes his remakes. Now, Rob Zombie's remakes, I truly believe, brought new interest back into the old franchise purely for the fact that everyone was bitching about Rob Zombie's versions. They hated Rob Zombie.
Like they bitched about Rob Zombie doing the Munsters recently. Yeah.
Yes, and I heard that was great too. And honestly, if you're looking for a film where the backstory is done better, Zombies Halloween has it. It had a decent Loomis. But so the interest comes back to the Halloween franchise. Okay, we've got this character, we've got this idea. Let's call John Carpenter back up so John Carpenter gets involved again. They call Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis gets involved again. So now you have two.
That's what I was going to say.
You have
just
two major.
Jamie Lee Curtis alone, you can get people out there because she's still doing movies.
So you have two major puzzle pieces from the original coming back. To remake the Friday the 13th had Sean S. Cunningham, but he hasn't worked on anything in years. So what are you really getting with that? He's probably sitting in a chair munching on a bag of Crunch and Munch or something saying, okay, cut. Yeah. All right. No, we'll go with it. Can we wrap this up? My daughter has ballet practice, kind of in a hurry. So, that being said, I heard Halloween Kills sucks. So who knows?
You mean Halloween Ends?
Yes, that's the one.
I've got to be careful not to do spoilers, but when I saw it, I was like, what the hell?
I heard it
going with this.
I heard it was bad, but I mean, these days, if you have a Facebook account, every movie is going to get spoiled for you.
It's different. It's different. And I can see why they would be upset because it's just not. It's for the Michael Myers purists. It's just not. It's not what it should be. A few good moments, but no. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm going to bring Major Hazzard back in here.
Yeah, General.
Oh, there she is. She must have taken her lab coat off. Do you have anything that you need to say before the end of the show, my dear?
I want to remind everyone to tune in to Cosmos tomorrow and Saturday for 6 p.m. because Rory Penland will be live in front of a live audience. We will be broadcasting.
Special shows. And there's also on Saturday the Jam Fest, the Halloween Jam Fest on Saturday afternoon in the evening. I think he's going to be part of that too. I don't know how, but there it is.
Yeah.
And you're going to be part of that. Great. Also, SDF is having a Halloween Sunday afternoon and evening. So check into that as well. And you can find that on SDF on Facebook. You can find the stuff with Rory and Jay and here on Cosmos and on YouTube and probably Twitch too. Until then, keep an eye out for those big monsters and those guys in hockey masks.